Next speaker, we have Dr. Anders Skoge from Heriot-Watt University.
There we go. Yeah. Hello, everybody. I just want to give you a few insight into what my theory is about. That's going to go very fast because I need the time for the presentations afterwards. So we do a lot of fluid flow at adverse mobility ratio, viscous fingering, characterizing viscous fingering. We have activity on gas injection, gas storage, and energy transition. We have an activity on upscaling, complex fluid upscaling, and hybrid advanced recovery. Examples are given here with the SIM gap. Also, we have polymer flooding, which is also targeted to minimize carbon footprint. And we have WAG studies, which has been hanging there for a long time. We've been progressing, and that's where the rest of the talk will be. So, title of the talk is Immiscible to Miscible Transition in Three-Phase Flow. Team is Saba, which is a PhD student. She is doing most of the work and should have most of the credit. And then we have Sorby, Liang, and Xu, and also Martin Blunt is involved in this area. So we have published a lot of work together. In mostly, it's done with a very simple model. So illustrated below there, you see a bundle of capillary tubes, and we have been looking at these issues in order to understand these transitions from immiscible to miscible transitions. So we have studied three-phase flow for a long time as a function of saturation history, phase trapping, up and down, and different gas trapping, for instance, and also trapping of other phases, and hysteresis in flow functions, and transition towards miscibility. And we add up all this complexity. It's getting too complicated, very complicated, and we have too many things are happening at the same time. So then we were saying, what should we do? Should we just work with this mess, or should we kind of dissect it into different topics and see where we have some uncertainty that we have to reduce? And that's where we were going. So therefore, we are now turned back to basics, and the purpose of this work has been to understand three-phase pore filling as consequences of transition towards miscibility at different wetting conditions, and then we mean a lot of different wetting conditions. So we have had two different approaches. One is to incorporate everything in one model, and we have expanded on the WAG hysteresis model that was well developed for a long time ago, including compositional effect, and it worked fine. But we came to an understanding that there was still some uncertainty that we couldn't kind of separate the effects because of the complex interactions. So thereby we had a second approach B, which is then anchoring models on pore scale three-phase physics, and go back to the basics. And we saw a need for pore scale physics to upgrade the compositional effect with the corresponding interface tensions, the consequences on three-phase flow functions, and so on. So the purpose is actually to include the best of both approaches and to bring that into one model that is working fine. But we are not there yet. So we now study this approach B, so we go back to the basics of that. That means we have phases, we have interfacial tensions, so we have tensions between all couple of the two phases. So there are 3 different interfacial tensions. We're looking at different wetting, and post size distribution has also been variation, but not in this presentation so much. Then the result is actually looking at phase occupancy, and when we inject one phase, which of the 2 other phases will be displaced, and what is the order of displacement. And we are trying then to find that. And we see also a strange thing that wetting order and consequences could be changing as we dependent on the conditions and the interfacial tensions. Purpose is also to the shape of 3-phase relative permeability, but of course when we start with a bundle of capillary tubes, so it's like stores with different radius, we have no trapping. So thereby we are limited in the knowledge we will get with the 3-phase relative permeability until we come into an active 3-phase model. And, but we start off with this simple stuff which Bartley-Osterhoff's equation, which is 100 years old. And we still use that and, as an approach. And that gives us the Young-Laplace equilibrium conditions for solid and 2 liquid phases. And we have 3 different combinations, of course, as we have 3 phases. But we can eliminate that, and it comes with a very nice result of Bartley-Osterhoff, where we see that the interfacial tension between the liquid and the cosinus theta, which is the contact angle for the corresponding phases, are then coupled for the 3 combinations of phases. And that leads to interpretation that we have brought forward. And that in the illustration of this graph here, here we have a radius on this side, so it's from the minimum, the lowest radius to the highest radius over here. And we have contact angles on this vertical axis. So negative means it's oil wet, and positive up to 1 means that it's water wet. And if we are looking at the base figure here, it says that we have an area which is water wet first, and at higher radius, the largest radius are oil wet. But then when we are applying the Bartley-Osterhoff and a statistical model on top of that, we find that we can describe the phase occupancy in this model. So here we can see that we have areas where only one phase is occupying, like the gas here in green and gas here. And there's other regions where we have all 3 phases occupying for a given radii. So everything can be then moving and will occupy some of these pores. One thing that we had been looking for was that we first developed theoretically that when the interfacial tensions we're going towards miscibility, then the interfacial tension between gas and oil goes to 0. But what's happened to the other 2 interfacial tensions? We see here that they all converges to the same value for different experimental data. It's not ours, but that's what we found in literature. But we have already, from theoretical point of view, derived that that would happen. And it's very good that experiments also confirm what we had derived. So when we're collecting the data, it agrees very much. Another thing that this is an oil wet case, and we have we are looking at wetting in this direction here, horizontal direction, oil wet here, water wet here, and on the vertical axis we have the cosinus theta for the other two values, actually gas oil and gas water. Now we are looking only at the interface distance between gas oil here, and we're seeing when we go towards miscibility, or gas water, sorry, and when we go towards miscibility, they change value of the limits here, and the limits here is actually the intercept here is governed by the three interface tensions which are valid, and we can thereby derive this very easily. And what we see, if we are at this point A, which is a weakly oil wet situation, as wettability was on the horizontal axis, then we see we have a positive value here for an immiscible case, but if we go near miscible, it goes negative. That means we are changing the wetting order, because if it's positive here, we have the immiscible case, and then we would have that water is more wetting than the gas, while if you go changes towards near miscible, it changes over to a negative value, and thereby water becomes the non-wetting phase. And that is just the consequences of, again, of Bartel-Osterhoff's derivations. When we plot this displacement from the capillary bundle of capillary tubes, we see that we have, for the immiscible case, we have a double displacement. First, it displaces. We are injecting gas, and we are injecting gas at the 50% water saturation, and then going straight up towards this 100% gas, of course. And we see first we have displacing water, which is not so favorable, and we are then displacing oil afterwards. But if we go near miscible, when we have changed the wetting order here, then we see a simultaneous displacement of oil and water, and that goes on for the whole way until the end of the process. So the displacement characteristics is also defined here, and we can derive this for different wetting situations and different interface tensions. We can choose whatever input we want to. So the question we have is actually saying, okay, what is the most important factors? Is it the miscible condition, if it's immiscible or near miscible or even miscible? Is it the wetting structure? Where is the wetting sites in the model? Is that also governing the whole process? So that was investigated further, and we see first we did a kind of gas injection into a model which where we had 50% oil, 50% water, and we are doing the displacement. And what we see here is this is weakly water wet, and then we have a displacement here. We see that we are then displacing oil, and then we are displacing water and then oil. And same thing goes for the strongly water wet case. But if you go for a more oil wet case, then the wetting, the path we are displacing depends on what kind of process we have. So the immiscible process becomes very different from the miscible process. And the transition here of the interface tensions are kind of defining the space here. So if you want this as a tool in a simulation model, then you have to take into account where is your path, what's happening, what's going on in the process. Remember that this is done in a very simplistic way with the capillary bundle, but if we transfer this to a network, fully 3D network model, we could include trapping functions and so on, and we can get a more realistic scenario. But we see under these simple, very simple conditions, still it comes through as with different paths, just as the consequences of the wetting. So if I did a water injection here under these conditions, it's water wet from the start. So here, nothing happens with the water. So I quickly go to the oil invasion. Why did we do oil invasion? You never do oil invasion. Well, you have an oil bank maybe that is moving inside the media, and that will interfere with the other displacement processes, whatever comes, if it's a gas injection or if it's a water injection. If this process has started before with an oil bank being formed, then this will be the consequences here of, we see in all cases, immiscible to near miscible and even miscible is giving us different scenarios of saturation path through the media. So, but one thing is doing this for a theoretical point of view, we have to compare against something. So we found literature values which had X-ray saturations internal, and we could has analyzed the media with respect to pore size distribution. And we saw here that from this is a water wet case and immiscible. And we see that we get fairly matched with the models we have in the start from oil injection here. So it started with 100% water, and then oil is injected, and then first water flood and the first gas flood. And we are still kind of, here we are getting into problem with the model because we don't have trapping. And the water, of course, traps a lot of oil in a water wet case. So we will have a lot of snap-off events occurring. But still, it's fairly well described. It's not perfect. So then we go to a water wet case, but near miscible. This was immiscible. So now we have near miscible. We have a lower interface tension between gas and oil of only 1 millinewton per meter. And we had to adjust it a bit to get matched with the data. But we saw also here we are getting a fairly good match with the process, and particularly nearly perfect match in the beginning. But it's kind of diminishing a bit, and towards the end, we are not getting the pattern of the trapped water phase. But the rest is quite good. So such a simple model, I able then to describe the path quite well. Okay, so this is the cases we had where we are changing then the oil water initially from the miscible case was 0.1, and then we had up to 10 in the gas oil interface tension. We are looking at the different wetting structure now. And then we went kind of crazy in the sense of looking at the wetting structure, and we still are chasing what is the important factors. So here's the systematic description of the wetting situation we had. So we have a nearly contact angle between 0.45 to 0.55. So it's weakly water wet and here we have a strongly water wet where it's close to 1 all the way through from the minimum radius to maximum radius. Similar is for the oil wet side. We have oil wets where it goes from 0.8 to 1. And we have then combinations of different pores have different wetting preferences. So we have a mixed wet large, and we have a mixed wet small. Mixed wet large meaning large is the oil wet sites are in the big pores. Here we have the oil wet sites in the smaller pores. And does that make a difference? And then we have this kind of fractional Dalmatinian type of behavior where we have both oil wet and water wet at any radius. So we chose a narrow interval, and then we are increasing to wide interval, and we had a complete where anything goes. You could have oil wet or water wet. So then we comes in with is this affecting the pathway? And here we have the cases, 9 cases where it goes from water wet in the beginning here to oil wet, weakly oil wet and strongly oil wet. And we go from mixed with large and mixed with small. And we see that, for instance, that in the mixed with, yeah, but okay. Can I return, go back? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I could. Yeah, so here we see a mix with small we have a large variation between the immiscible to immiscible cases, while that doesn't happen if the oil wet sites are in the big pores. So we are learning something all the time by this. And we see the impact of the gas injection is very much stronger in the oil wet sites and in the mixed wet small sites. But also on the fractional wet, it has quite a bit of importance. So we're doing this and with the water afterwards, or we're starting from 50-50 saturation again, and we see a small impact of water when the water is the wetting phase. But it has some impact on when it's the non-wetting phase, and we see on fractional wetting phase when we have a narrow interval, it has a big impact. So if I go to the oil invasion, we see that in most of the cases we have big variations in the changes in the saturation path. So it has definitely impact on these processes. So one other thing is that we wanted to compare this to experimental data. We found 3 sets of experimental data, which all were near miscible gas injection. And we had water wet case, we have an oil wet case, and we have some intermediate wetting case. And they all are describing well the start of beginning, but it's towards the end we have some mismatch. But it's not really bad. It's fairly describing the process we see. So, but that leads me to some conclusions. So, immiscible to miscible transition affects both three-phase occupancy and three-phase displacement path. For some wettability distribution quite radically. And we see gas injection and oil invasion is very much depends on the wettability structure, while water injection is very much dependent on wettability distribution. That was something that we a priori could estimate, but not for the oil and gas injection. That was something we learned from this process. And we saw when we're going from immiscible to miscible condition, it shifts from wettability structure to dependency on interfacial tension. That's the controlling parameter. So if you go further on, we see that we have a water-wet system. Poor occupancy sequences can be modeled by applied theory through a bundle of capillary tubes with minimum parameter adjustment and very good agreement. Mixed wet, a fairly good match also. And we need to optimize maybe the contact angle distribution more than the interfacial tensions. We saw that was needed. And in all wettability structures with different gas injection and miscible conditions, the applied theory captures the physics of the three-phase displacement using this simplest capillary bundle knob approach. So what's next, and what have we learned from it? Okay, then we want to go into kind of connected networks, and that's the next step. And we have done some. And we've done comparing a capillary bundle to network models. But we want to do much more on this. So we did it with a kind of predefined trapping mechanism. So thereby, it doesn't influence the processes, but we saw that the kind of pattern we saw in all different cases with the coordination number of 6 and to coordination number 1, different cases where we have a kind of different degree of immiscible processes and going towards near immiscible processes. We see these changes are as quite similar to the capillary bundle. Even though we have a situation where we also were including trapping. But here we are at the beginning, and there's more to come on this. So we have generated a better understanding of pore filling in the transition towards miscibility for different wetting situations. The information will be incorporated in WAG modeling, but first after analyzing this in network models. So now we have to build a three-phase network model. And that's tedious work and something that it's hard to find the right person to do. So we are there, and I would just say thank you for the presentation, and also for thanks to the sponsors that are supporting this work.
Thank you, Dr. Skogøy. Any questions? Dr. Parcells, Kansas.
Thank you very much for an excellent presentation. This is also very exciting stuff for me.
Yeah.
Is it possible for you to go to that slide that you had oil, water, gas, and then you went oil, gas, water?
Where do you want?
It was one of the early slides. Before
One of the early slides. Okay.
Yeah. It was a schematic. So for clarification, while you're doing this, these are all computational experiments.
All the way to the beginning.
Yes. Very early.
Yeah. So this is early three-phase displacement.
Yeah, no, go further back. Very further back. There, this one.
Yeah.
So these are all computational experiments.
Yeah.
They are not physical experiments, right?
No, these.
And you are assuming that you start in each case from the pressure that you want to examine. You're
No.
not starting at zero pressure and
No.
increase the pressure.
No.
Right. So if we look at these two graphs there, I could make the argument that the one you call immiscible is at lower pressure, and the one you call near immiscible is at higher pressure.
Actually, it is. So
Right.
You're right.
So where's the flip point?
Yeah, there's a flip point, and I'm not sure. Well, it's actually where, in the case where we are looking for, it's the flip point is actually when it goes to what towards the zero value of the cosinus theta, and then it thereafter it will flip.
Right.
But it depends on where you are. In this case, for instance, if you were in the water wet corner, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we agree.
Yeah.
So if we were to do an experiment, we would start with the upper graph,
Yeah.
and in order for us to start approaching near miscible conditions, the gas somehow has to move through water to find the oil.
Yeah. If
So water is an impairment there.
yeah.
That would be a very interesting thing to see.
I agree. That would be very interesting to see that process when
Right.
changing just with the
Fascinating
depressurization.
stuff, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I have a question online. For someone else? Let me get this question online. It's from one of our board members, Dr. Bob Goldner. He was wondering if you have sourced the work of Gary Gerald, former ARCO and then BP,
Yeah, I know.
on this topic, which was deeply researched for understanding of the processes at Prudhoe Bay. So,
Yeah.
so he said the in-house work was called ARC 90, going back to 30 years. So I suppose he's asking whether there's much of a difference in what's being done.
That I can't recall, so I'm not sure.
Okay, all right.
Following from Apostolus' question, so when you go from low pressure immiscible to
Yeah.
high pressure near miscible,
Yeah.
geomechanics,
Yeah.
your capillary bundle tube changes in radius.
Yeah.
What happens?
Nah,
To
that
me-
you know much better than me. So
no, not even close. But I just was interested in is because fundamentally, if I move
Yeah.
from one state to the next state,
yeah,
regardless of even if it's small, there will be small pore volume changes.
yeah.
And-
Here's was the change was I think we were up to 4,000 psi with the miscible process, and we went down to 5,000 for
Yeah,
the
that's
for
big
the
enough on
miscible.
a compressibility
Yeah,
to
yeah.
change your capillary bundle too. So what happens in your model if on the fly in this transition phase, the radius of the capillary tube bundle in your model actually starts to increase
Yeah.
dynamically? What happens?
Yeah, no, that's I don't have the answer to that, but that's Kansas was into that also. That we would love to see this kind of experiment. That if somebody did it. Yeah. But we've seen some evidence that this wettability alteration appears because we've seen it in data where they've done one experiment which is miscible and one which is immiscible at different conditions, but it's not combined in the sense of depressurization or something like that.
Okay, because I will say that one of the curves that I showed in the geomechanical responses where the rel perms were shifting, it's only two phase, but the rel
Yeah.
perms were shifting. they shifted in a way that would have suggested a change in wettability,
Yeah.
which was odd. I
Yeah.
mean, it was sand and
Yeah.
it was water wet. And you would look at the thing and you'd say, well,
Yeah.
how could it even do that, just given some
Yeah.
deformation, right? But it was interesting that
Yeah.
it looked water wet,
Yeah.
and then it would shift to being mixed wet, I think.
Yeah. I know Firsabadi was, he was questioning this, bring it up as a gas-fed situation and so on. But in our cases, it just came as a conclusion from Bartolossov equation and derivation straight off it. And that is, so I think we at least add one more argument for that the gas wetting state can be, gas can be preference compared to water. And so don't be having kind of your mindset ahead, but let the data tell if gas is non-wetting or if it's intermediate wetting in this case.
Okay, we've gone past the time for your talk already. Thank you very much, Dr. Skogøy.